Hello, hello. Hi, guys. How are you? How's everyone? Okay, so welcome to another Exploring IELTS with Fabi. Okay, can you just let me know if the sound is okay, if the video is okay? Can you just let me know that in the messages, please? Yes, all good. Is it all good? Yes. All right. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an English teacher here in Brisbane, Australia. And I help people get the score they need on the IELTS test and do the test only once. Okay. All right. It's okay. Cool. Nice. It's okay. Lovely. All right. Okay. So so I have people get a score in the IELTS test and test only once. And also, okay, I teach English colleges and universities here in Brisbane, Australia. Okay, and I'm here to help you with your IELTS test. Okay, okay. All right. So, just one thing. If you have any questions, okay, if you have any questions, feel free to pop the questions in here. Okay, and I'll probably get to the end of them. Sometimes I miss some of the questions, so I'll get to the end of it. Okay, I get to the end of it now. I'll get to the questions at the end of the live. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, pop them in here. But before, you can tell me where you are speaking from. Hi, teacher. Hi. How are you? Okay, you can tell me where you're speaking from, guys. That'd be nice to know. Every live, I have people from so many different places. So cool. Oh, and by the way, we are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're everywhere. Okay. Yeah. So in case you missed this, you can always catch the replay on Instagram, YouTube. I think it's on Facebook too. Okay. So you can catch the replay there. Okay. So I haven't told you what we're going to talk about today yet, have I? So, yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about English for the IELTS test. Okay. So today we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to help you with English for the IELTS. Okay. So, because guys, remember, the IELTS test is an English test. Okay. So, one thing that we need to do is to study English. Okay. What we need to do is to study English. All right. So, people from Colombia, cool. Lots of people from Colombia. That's nice. All right. If you have any questions, pop them in there. Okay, guys. So the topic today is English. Okay. So the IELTS test and English test. So we have to study some English. All right. We always have to study some English. But sometimes I feel that people are a little bit reluctant to study English. Okay. Or it takes them a little bit too long to study English. Okay. So my suggestion is that you should be spending some time on it. But one problem that people have is sometimes you don't know where to start. Okay. So today here, I'm going to help you with finding out when you should be studying more English for the IELTS test. Okay. How do you know you have to study English for the IELTS test? How much English you have to study? And also how to study. Okay. Oh, another person from Colombia. Cool. Okay. So Colombia is the most popular country at the moment here. Anybody else from another country? All right, cool. So, so I'm going to help you with finding out how do you know we have to study, when do you know how to study, and what to study. Okay. So let's start with how do you know if you have to study English or not? Okay. Personally speaking, I think everyone should be studying, okay, English when they're doing the IELTS test. So when I'm helping students with the IELTS test, I also help them with their English. Okay, that's something that I always do. So that's something that we should all be thinking about. Okay. And the thing is, when it comes to the IELTS test, okay, let's say that you didn't do very well in a specific part of the test. Oh my God, someone else from Colombia. Is everyone from Colombia today? Oh my God. Okay, so let's do that. You did the IELTS test. You did a practice. Okay, we're gonna talk about practice. Okay, I'm not gonna get into the real test. Okay, because again, when we're talking about studying English for the IELTS test, I feel that you should do that while we're preparing, not so much after you fail the test. Okay, as you know, I really focus on preparing for the test. Okay, so let's say that you did a practice test. Could be listening, English, anything. Okay. So you heard different when you speak in the last videos. Okay. Oh, I sound different. Yes, I'm a little bit sick. I'm a little bit sick. Yeah, so my voice is a little bit different. I agree. Yeah, I had a bit of a sore throat, a bit of a cold. Yeah, I know I sound a little bit different. And I'm speaking a little bit slowly also because my throat's not 100% yet. But hopefully I'll feel better soon. It's just a bit of a cold. Lots of people I know have been having a bit of a cold. So, yes, my voice is a little bit different, a bit sexy, maybe. I don't know. All right. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay. So, imagine you did a practice test and you didn't do so well. Okay. So, the one reason why you probably didn't do so well is because of the types of questions that you had. Okay, let's say a reading. Let's think about reading. Let's focus on reading because I feel that English sometimes can be a problem with reading. Okay, so the thing is, so let's say you didn't get the score you wanted. Okay, so you did a practice test, you won a 6, you got a 5. Okay, so the first thing we have to think about is what are the types of questions that would be tricky? Maybe that's the answer, or maybe no. The types of questions are okay. What about the topics for the text? Oh, the topic was a little bit different, okay, but it was still okay. All right, so you go, that's not too bad, right? So then what was probably the problem? The vocabulary. Okay, or maybe you did a writing practice, okay, and you got someone to check it for you, a teacher, a friend, and then they said, oh well, yeah, the structure was good, the ideas were right, but your English wasn't the best. Okay, so if you're getting this type of feedback, that's when you guys should start practicing English, including English in your practice for the IELTS test. Okay, when you feel like you know the test, but you are not getting the score you need, that's when you should be focusing on your English. Okay, guys. So, how do you know? You have to study English if you know the test and you're not getting the score you need. Okay, and then when should you start? Straight away. Okay, because like I always say to people, getting to know the IELTS test, learning about the test doesn't take that long. Improving your English for the test, that's what takes a while, okay? Because, sometimes people improve their English very quickly, but most people takes them a little bit longer. Okay, so that's why I think that you should be including it as much as you can. All right, so that's one of the things. Okay, there's some comments there. Yeah, so just a pause here was a question. So I understand the score 6.5 in the IELTS a bit too. Is around the B2, okay? Yeah, 6.5 is around the B2. Yeah, and if you want to be A1, which is advanced, about a 7. Yes, okay? And someone said, my smile is very contagious. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and someone said, I'd like to reinforce the listening a lot because, yeah, your weakest point. It wouldn't say fragile. Maybe you could say it's your weakness. Let me write this here for you. Can I write in here? Weakness. Did I write? Yeah. So instead of saying fragile, you say weakness. Okay, that's my weakness. Okay, cool. All right, so all right, okay, so we talked about how do you know you have to study more English. Okay, so if you know the test well and you're still not getting the score you need, okay, when should you start? I think you should start straight away, okay? But then how much should you study, okay? I think that if you, as much as you practice for the test, you should also be studying English. I think you should be doing both together. Okay. So if you're spending an hour studying for the IELTS test, spend an hour studying English also. Okay. And one question that I always ask is, but how? How do we do that, right? How do I study English for the IELTS? Okay. So I'm going to give you a few tips now. Let me just get some water. All right. Okay. So, so when it comes to English, okay, so today I'm going to focus on two parts of the English language, which will be grammar and vocabulary. Okay, guys. So when it comes to the grammar, like I mentioned here now, weakness. Okay. So when it comes to grammar, I think the first starting point should be your weaknesses. Okay. And where do you go to find your weaknesses? You go to your writing or your speaking. Okay. That's where you go to focus on your weaknesses. So let's say that again, that you did a writing test, someone checked your writing for you. So you go over there, and then the person said, oh, you made lots of mistakes on this topic and that topic and that topic. So that should be your starting point. Okay. Which is a very practical way to look at studying grammar for the IELTS test. Okay. There are things that people usually get wrong. I'm going to share some of that with you in a minute. Okay. But, but I think that the first thing you can do definitely is just to go and focus on your weaknesses. Okay. So you go there and you check, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Okay. And you can start. That's a good way to start with your grammar. Okay. And when it comes to vocabulary, okay, the best thing you can do is a good way to start is just a good place to find whether your vocabulary is IELTS ready or not is in the reading part of the test. It doesn't matter if you're doing general or academic. Okay. When you're doing the reading, okay, just check the words you don't know. Are there too many words you don't know? Check your mistakes. Did you make a mistake because there was a word you didn't know? That's something else that you can think about. Okay. So starting point, okay, on how should you study, where to start, could be grammar, checking your writing. Okay. You can even think about your speaking. So if you're practicing speaking and you got someone to practice with you and give you some feedback, you could ask the person, what are my most common mistakes? That's a good place to start. And with vocabulary, maybe thinking about, sorry. Sorry, maybe thinking about going over to the reading and checking the words, how many words I didn't know. Okay. Now, going back to grammar a little bit. Okay. Something else you could do is let's say that you found some of your mistakes, you worked on them, and keep going. There are three types of grammar, two topics actually, that I feel that people struggle with the most. Because that's what I see my students getting wrong. First thing is tenses in general. Okay. Some people still using the present when they want to talk about the past. Okay. So if you're thinking about revising a grammar point, okay, to improve your English for the IELTS test, definitely head over to tenses. I'm talking about past, present, and future, future continuous, present perfect, past simple. I have no idea how many people forget the past simple, guys. They have no idea. Okay. And then prepositions. Yeah, lots of people make mistakes with prepositions. Okay. It is very, very common. Make mistakes with prepositions. So revising your prepositions is something that we should all be doing. Okay. And a grammar point that is quite tricky, but if you use it correctly, that could be the difference between a 6.5 and a 7 is the passive voice. Okay. Well, the passive voice is something that people tend to get wrong. Okay. And, but if you have some passive, let's say in your writing, okay, and you manage to do it perfectly with few mistakes or no mistakes, you're likely to get a really high score on the IELTS test. Okay. So if you're thinking about getting some grammar points to revise to improve your English for the IELTS test, there would be tenses in general, prepositions, and the passive. Okay. So, sorry. Sorry, guys. That's a very good starting point. Okay. Now, when it comes to vocabulary, as I mentioned before, you can go over the reading. Okay. So, do I need help with vocabulary? Well, if you're struggling to understand the text in the reading part, yes. If you're going to do the writing and you're trying to use different words, you can. Yes, you need to improve vocabulary. Or if you're doing the speaking test, same thing. Okay, so you need some help with your vocabulary. All right. Now, what can you do to improve that? Okay. Lots of people, they go online to look for lists. Okay, for vocabulary, looking up lists online, maybe you could create your own lists. To look up vocabulary, guys. The best place to get vocabulary very well is because there were too many words I didn't know. What do? Use those words to your advantage. Instead of hating them because you don't know them, you explore them, you get to know them, and you become friends with them. Okay, so that's what I always tell my students. Okay, if you see a word you don't know, what do? Get angry. Arrgh. Who gets angry when they see a word they don't know? Don't get angry, get happy. Say, oh my God, look at this, a new word. I'm going to learn this word and I'm going to improve my English. Yay. Okay, guys. So that, I think that should be the attitude. Okay, when it comes to vocabulary. So if you see a text, lots of words you don't know, try to learn those words. Okay, and I'm not saying you should go over all the words. No, don't go over all the words. Okay, you should go over some specific words. Okay, just choose like 5, no more than 5, and don't go to translators. My advice would be go over to Cambridge Dictionary, do everything in English. Okay, all right. So I missed some messages here, let me see. Okay, so is there a way to memorize vocabulary faster? Okay, good question. Sorry. Good question. I think that when it comes to learning vocabulary, people should, there are things you can do, but I do think that in the end of the day, you kind of find your own way of learning. Okay. I think that a good start is doing everything in English. When you do everything in English, I feel that sometimes maybe it looks a little bit slow. Okay, because it takes you longer. Because if you see a word, no, go to the translator, bang, you know the meaning, but you're probably not going to remember it. Okay, so what should you do? You get a word you don't know, a new word, go over to Cambridge Dictionary and you explore the word. Think about the meaning, think about examples, and you're more likely to remember this word. Okay, so I'm not gonna say memorize, I'm gonna say learn. Okay, let's say if you memorize, you're gonna have a list of 10 that you know, but maybe you don't know how to use them. So how good are they? Okay, maybe it's better if you take the time to learn 5 that you know how to use. Okay, so it's more like quality over quantity. Does it make sense? Yeah. So I think the best way maybe to memorize, I'm not going to say faster, because when you start doing this process that I'm suggesting, is actually a little bit slow. But with time, but it is more effective, definitely more effective. Okay, maybe a bit slower, but more effective. But with time, it becomes fast. And you will see that you're remembering and learning more words. So that's my advice. Okay, get rid of the dictionary, get rid of the list that don't mean anything, create your own list. And revising, I think revising also helps. Okay, cool. Next question here is what is your advice when people are not good at remembering vocabulary easily? Revising. Revising, okay? So, like I said before, if you manage to create your own if you manage to create your own list, okay, because this is your list, you created it, I think you're more likely to remember. One thing. Second thing is go back to it. I have a very good memory, so it's really easy for me to remember vocabulary. Okay. But I noticed that for those people who are not that good at it, okay, revising it is a good way of doing it. And maybe also doing different things with it. Okay. So maybe using it for, let's say, using it in different situations is also good. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think that would be the best way. Okay. And maybe always be in touch with the English language, because it's surprising how when we start paying attention to vocabulary and learning some vocabulary, the words we are learning, they appear everywhere. But it's not because they are appearing, it's because we are paying more attention to it. Okay. And sometimes, guys, sometimes this process is very quick for some people, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But I just think that you should keep doing it, okay? So you will improve, okay? Someone saying hi, hello. Okay. All right, so Vinny says, so hi Fabi, I did my test last Saturday and I think it was bad in speaking. I didn't answer some questions in part 3 and I didn't use my 2 minutes in part 2. Do you think maybe I got at least a 6? Oh my, okay. Let me know when you get your score. Okay, so part 2, it's a good idea to talk as much as you can, because then the more you speak, the more the examiner has information to give you a score. So that the part 2 is for that. It's for you to just talk, 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 talk. Okay, for 2 minutes, of course. So if you don't speak for those, it's not really gonna get a low score, but maybe the examiner expects a little bit more. That's it. Okay. And part 3, if you want a high score, you should be doing well on part 3. Okay. So I'm not sure. Okay. Maybe, I don't want to say much, but if you want a 6 or more, you should do quite well in part 6. Okay. So you said that you missed some questions in part 3. Okay. If you didn't manage to answer the questions, maybe you didn't do so well. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Because what happens sometimes also, did the examiner stop you in part 3 or you couldn't answer? So if you couldn't answer, Vinny, maybe not so high a score. Maybe the score wasn't that high. Maybe. We never know. We never know. We never know. Okay. Where did you do the test, Vinny? In which country are you? Where are you? Uh-huh. What was my score on the IELTS test? I got an 8 overall. I got an 8 overall. Yes. First time I tried, I managed to get, I think I got I got 9 in listening, 9 in speaking. That was very good. And then my writing, I think, was 7.5, but it was handwritten, so my handwriting is terrible, so it wasn't very good. And I think for my reading was like 7.5, I think. I can't remember now. But I think it was an 8 overall. Oh, you in Brazil. In Brazil. Okay. So Vinny in Brazil. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Vinny. So part 3 is very important if you want a 6 or more. Okay. So I'm not sure. Let me know when you get your score. Okay. Get in touch. If you didn't do so well, get in touch. All right. Okay. All right. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? Okay, so while you pop in some questions, I'm gonna just do a recap of what we looked at today. Okay, so today we're talking about vocabulary, English for the IELTS test. Okay, English for the IELTS test. So when do you know you have to study some English? For me, you should be studying English all the time, but some people are a little bit reluctant. Okay, but guys, if you know how the IELTS test works, okay, if you know how it works, and you are and you're not getting the score you need, it's probably because you have to study some English. That's it, full stop. Okay, then how much? I think you should be studying as much as you need to get the score you need. Okay, that's one thing you should be. And what's the best way to study? For example, for grammar, I think you should start with your weaknesses. So maybe if you know the mistakes you usually make in writing, the grammar mistakes you make in writing, start with that. Okay. But if you want to go over and study some of the grammar mistakes that most people make, you could start with some tenses. Okay. So usually people get tenses incorrect, prepositions. Sometimes people miss prepositions or they get the wrong one. And the passive voice. Okay. The passive voice is also very, very important. All right. And vocabulary. Okay. So a good indication of your that your vocabulary is not very good is based on the reading test. Okay, so if you're doing the reading test, not getting the score you need, or if you're doing the reading test and there are lots of words you don't know, yes, you should be spending some time on your vocabulary. Okay, if you're not getting the score you need, and again, use the words you don't know to your advantage. Okay, guys. So get the words you don't know instead of getting very angry. You see the word, the new word, you go, oh my God, I'm so angry at this word. I don't know this word. Don't do that. Okay. So if you see a word you don't know, you go, oh, look at this. A word I don't know. I will get to know this word better. And that's what you should be doing. All right, guys. Okay. So that's me for today. Do you have any final questions for me? Any final questions? No. Lots of people from Colombia and people from Brazil. Any final questions here? Yeah, and my voice is a little bit different today. Okay, no more questions. Oops. All right. And remember, guys, this is available on YouTube also. Okay, let's heaps of stuff on my YouTube channel if you want to head there. Fabi English on YouTube. Okie dokie. All right, okay, so I'm gonna head out. Okay, it was very, very nice being here with you guys today. Okay, if you have any questions and extra questions, you can send me a message. Okay. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I have a bit of a cold at the moment. So, yeah, so it's very nice spending some time with you. Is there a test simulation for IELTS test? Yes, there is. Okay, so if you go to my Instagram, the first part there says start here. If you click on it, there will be a link that will take you to our website, British Council website, where you will have a full, you have lots of IELTS tests there. Maybe not lots, 2 or 3. So you can try the IELTS test there. Okay. You can head there. Okay. So someone said it's good to get to know other cultures. I like that. I love that. That's one of the reasons I love teaching English, and especially here in Australia, because I get to see people from all over the world. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. That's why I like to ask, where are you from? Where are you speaking from? It's very, very cool to know that. I really, really love it. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions for me? No? Oh, good. All right. Okay. So I'm going to get going. Okay, I'm gonna rest my voice. Okay, but I'll be back on Thursday. Okay, to speak to you. So if you have any requests, any topics, because I usually choose the topics based on questions I get from my students or people on Instagram. Okay, but if you have any requests, feel free to send me a message and request something. All right, okay. So I will see you on Thursday. I'll be back here on Thursday. All right, okay. See you. Bye.